Welcome back to Fox News Alert. Now, 5 suspected terrorists released from Guantanamo Bay in exchange for an American POW, Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, who has been held captive by the Taliban in Afghanistan since June 2009. So what does this mean for the future of Afghanistan, and what do we need to know about these 5 detainees sent to Qatar? Joining us is national security expert for the Clarion Project, Ryan Morrow. Nice to see you this morning, Ryan.
Nice to see you.
Ryan. So who are these guys?
Well, these are senior Taliban commanders that the Taliban wanted back badly because they are experienced in killing not just Afghans but also American soldiers. And they were rated as being high-risk detainees by the U.S. government. And more importantly, they were directly collaborating with al-Qaeda. So they may not have been al-Qaeda members themselves, but they were just, the difference is paper thin. You're essentially negotiating with al-Qaeda-associated individuals. It's an amazingly bad message to send.
And their extreme belief systems makes them think it's okay to die for their cause. So, I mean, are they still strapped to this cause, or are we in danger that they're going to try to kill more Americans as soon as they get back?
Well, if you look at what the U.S. government said in its own files, they said that's what's going to happen. If they get released, they're going to link back up with the Taliban and al-Qaeda because, just like you said, they believe it is their religious commandment to kill American soldiers. And the second that they stop doing that, they are violating the will of God.
Question this morning whether or not this sets a dangerous precedent. I mean, when are we negotiating? We're negotiating with the Taliban now? That's the tactic going forward, that it's okay to kidnap Americans, and then, you know what, we'll look through our prison Rolodex and see who we have here, and here you go, here's some exchange. We can give you 10 guys for 1.
Sure. Well, there's really 2 messages that are being sent. The first is that kidnapping Americans works. You want your terrorists to be released from the United States? Then kidnap Americans. And that's going to be a message that's very hard to reverse. The second message is, no matter what the U.S. says, we negotiate with terrorists. Because the soldier was being held by the Haqqani network, which is officially labeled as a terrorist group. So is the Pakistani branch of the Taliban. So we can't make a reasonable argument that we're not negotiating with terrorists.
So it's a little bit confusing. If we know enough about their whereabouts to communicate with them, why wasn't he rescued?
Because we didn't know the exact location, but we knew who to talk to that would be able to get in touch with the captors. So there was a line of communication, particularly going through the nation of Qatar, which is a supposed U.S. ally that backs the Muslim Brotherhood.
Right, can we trust them? Right, that's a big question.
Wait, what do you mean a supposed U.S. ally? I mean,
they're officially a U.S. ally.
Well, they've helped us an awful lot, haven't they, for the past 13 years, or no?
They have. They've helped us with al-Qaeda, with one branch of radical Islam, but at the other hand, they support the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas, and they're getting more and more radical by the day. Al Jazeera's propaganda networks are based out of Qatar.
Right.
Okay, if we wanted to get Bergdahl back, which we did, and are there other ways that we could have negotiated? The president appears as he winds down the war, he wants to tie up loose ends. Was there another way we could have gotten him back if it wasn't a rescue?
Force was really the only answer, because otherwise you are negotiating with terrorists. You are saying that our policy, our words are completely invalid. But more importantly, now we have to limit this damage, because between this and the timetable for withdrawal, the Taliban now has momentum, and they're going to be able to create a narrative that says that time is on their side. And so we have to counter that now by pointing to the progress that's being made on the ground by U.S. and Afghan soldiers, which is progress virtually no one hears about.
So really quick, why did this happen? This never happened before. Why now? Why with this man?
Desperation to get out of Afghanistan. And look, if he was the last American soldier in Afghanistan, it would be very difficult to turn down this deal. But there are over 30,000 American soldiers that remain in Afghanistan, in addition to the American soldiers that are serving around the world. And the message we just sent was, kidnap them. That's the message that was just sent to terrorists.
Are people overreacting, though? And we talked earlier about like putting RFID chips, and we were just, being hyperbolic. But this idea that maybe they'll lead us back to other areas.
I was thinking the same thing.
So are we tracking them? Can we rest assured that we're following them? Maybe back to a, den of vipers, so to speak.
Well, if we're thinking of it, then surely the Taliban has also thought of that. And clearly the U.S. is winding down the war in Afghanistan. They've scaled back the list of targets for drone strikes. So I don't think that the U.S. is going to be willing to take that step. And I wouldn't rule out the possibility of future prison swaps.
Ryan Morrow, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.